Alright, so welcome to the video for classwork 4. How can we solve quadratics of the form ax squared plus b plus c where a does not equal 1 by looking for patterns. Now, this video is going to be very similar to classwork 2 in the way that we're going to use the same type of procedures. So first, this was one of our examples on the left in the orange of when a equals 1 in classwork 2. How can we solve x squared minus 5x minus 36? Well, you do the little x, you have a minus 36. Minus 5, you're going to get negative 6, plus 1, if you remember this, x minus 6, and x plus 1. Now, after this, don't forget the equal 0. Remember, we set each of them equal to 0, so you're going to get x minus 6 equals 0, or x equals 6. And over here, you're going to get x plus 1 equals 0, or x minus 1. Sorry. Let me erase that. Or x equals minus 1. So did that one really quick. The first thing we do is factor it using the pattern, the x, and then use 0 property to set each of them equal to 0. Now over here, I'm going to skip a lot of the work because there's a lot more work on this side, but we ended up with, I think it was 4x minus 1 and x minus 2. Now what do you think we're going to do in this case? Let's see if you can figure it out. Yep, probably already guessed it. Set each of them equal to 0. Same exact thing. So we just have 4x minus 1 equals 0. 4x equals 1, or x equals 1 over 4. You're going to have a lot of fractions sometimes with these. This one, x minus 2 equals 0, or x equals 2. Similar procedure, almost the exact same thing. The only thing that's going to be different is this part right here. Factoring is the only thing that's different. Everything after that is exactly the same. So now let's look at some examples where I'm going to show a lot more detail. Alright, so here's our first example. Solve the equation 4x squared plus 5x plus 1 equals 0. Now, just like before, excuse me, you want to set up your x. So, what goes on top? 4 times 1. Remember, the first times the last, it's going to be a 4. It's an ugly 4. Let me fix it. What goes on the bottom? The middle number. So 5. Now, what two numbers, when you multiply them, you get 4, and when you add them, you get 5. I can think of two numbers, 4 times 1. Because 4 times 1 is 4, and 4 plus 1 is 5. So now let's split the middle. Remember, this is the part we're going to split and replace it with that. So we're going to have 4x squared plus 4x plus 1x plus 1. This part right here is the part that we split, because that's the same thing as 5x. So anyways, let's group these. Let's have this be group 1. Let's have this be group 2. So you're going to be, what can you factor out? Find the greatest common factor in the first two terms. I see that 4x goes into both of them. So let me take out a 4x out. Let me take a 4x out. Ooh, correct my English. So you're left with x plus 1. And the second one, what do you think you can take out? Take out a 1. Let's just keep it like that. X plus 1. So let's group these again. Remember, this one and this one go together, and this one go together. So you are going to be left with 4x plus 1 times x plus 1. I forgot a really important part. I forgot to set all of these to equal to 0. Now, just like I showed in the slide before, let's write these into two different groups. So many groups. It's like groups inside of groups inside of groups. What are those? The little Russian dolls, when you have dolls inside of dolls inside of dolls. It's kind of what we're doing here. So 4x plus 1 equals 0. Subtract 1, 4x equals 1. Divide by 4, divide by 4. Beep, beep. X equals 1 over 4, and it's fine, it's a fraction, it's okay, we will live. Second one, x plus 1 equals 0. This you can already tell is a lot easier than the other one. X equals -1. And that's our final answer. And again, we have two solutions. So now let me go into a different example in a little bit, and then I'll show you the summary of what it is that we actually just did. And here's our fun fact of the day. Did you know that polar bear is actually transparent and not white? So that probably means that their skin is actually white, which I thought was really interesting because this whole time I thought that polar bears were actually white. Okay, next example. Solve the equation 6r squared minus 7r minus 5 equals 0. Oh my god, we don't have x's anymore. It's okay, we'll be fine. It's the exact same thing. So again, step 1, start with your little x. What numbers go on top? Well, what goes on top is the first times the last. 6 times negative 5 is negative 30. What goes on the bottom is the middle number. Here's a tricky one. What two numbers, when you multiply them, when you multiply them, you get negative 30, but when you add them, you get negative 7. So this one was tricky for me. I'm not sure why, but I'm going to go with positive 3 and negative 10. Because negative 10 times positive 3 is negative 30, and negative 10 plus 3 is negative 7. So now let's rewrite this. Let's split the middle. Boop. So we're going to have 6r squared plus 3r minus 10r minus 5 equals 0. Don't forget that we're setting it equal to 0. Let's group things up again. This is one group, this is another group. Take out a common factor. Well, in the first group, I can tell that you can take out a 3r from both. Let's take out a 3r, so you're going to be left with 2r plus 1. In the second group, take out a negative 5. 2r plus 1 equals 0. Alright, so here's the final part. Let me split this up. You can put these two together, you can put these two together, and you're going to be left with 3r minus 5 and 2r plus 1. Plus 1 equals 0. Split these up. 3r minus 5 equals 0. Oops, sorry. Minus 5 equals 0. Add 5 to both sides because you want to get r by itself. 3r equals 5 divided by 3. R equals 5 over 3. So that's one of our answers. Now over here, split the second group up. 2r plus 1 equals 0. Subtract 1. 2r equals negative 1. Divided by 2. Let me cross these out. R equals negative 1/2. So that's pretty much how we do it. Again, the first part, the factoring, is exactly the same. It's the second part that's a little bit different. Alright, so here's the summary, and again, the first step you want to do is factor. So whatever you're doing, you always want to factor. You have an 8 on the top, negative 8 on the bottom. I think in this one we had a negative 8 over here, negative 1 over here too. Split the middle, do all that stuff. 5 minutes later, you are going to end up with 4x minus 1 and x minus 2 equals 0. And now for the second parts, when you set each of them equal to 0, so you're going to say 4x minus 1 equals 0. Keep solving. X equals 1 over 4. Do the same thing for the other one. X minus 2 equals 0, or x equals 2. Those are your two solutions. It's pretty simple. This right here, step 1, is the same thing from classwork 3. Step 2 is very similar to classwork 2. So now go ahead and try the classwork. Good luck. Have fun. Let me know if you have any questions. Let your peers know if you have any questions. And at the end of the day, make sure you get the stamps so that I give you the credit.